Whoa, Amber Portwood is speaking out about her missing fiance. We have Billie Lee that's dropping receipts in response to Victoria and Kyle Chan. And then I have two of the ladies from Love Undercover, and they have some real hot tea they're spilling. So I hope you're ready for it. Let's dive in. You're listening to No Filter with Zach Peter, your go-to source for all the latest pop culture and reality TV tea, served fresh all week long. Now, let's dive in. What up? Welcome on in, everybody. Happy Thursday. What's going on? This is not a live episode. It is a pre-record from Wednesday night. So happy Thursday. But this is pre-recorded because at the time that this is broadcasting, I'm actually going to really be at Spotify taping the new season of Disaster Daters, which very excited about. We have season 2 of Disaster Daters that'll be coming at you very, very soon. So get ready for that. If you haven't done so yet, please send in your dating disasters, sex blunders, relationship horror stories, like obviously the funny ones, right? You can send them in to disasterdaterspodcast@gmail.com. That's disasterdaterspodcast@gmail.com. Subscribe to Disaster Daters now. You can watch it on Spotify and get ready. New season coming soon. Okay, we have a lot to break down today. Like I said, I have two of the ladies. I have Trish and Brittany from Love Undercover. If you have watched Love Undercover on Peacock, you'll know there were 5 girls left in the end that each got to choose whether or not they were going to pick one of their pro football player lovers or sail off into the sunset. Brittany, as we know, well, I guess spoilers ahead at the end of the episode. I won't tell you anything because if you haven't watched, I don't want to give any spoilers away, but lots of spoilers in that interview, and it is actually pretty juicy. So if you've watched Love Undercover and you saw it all the way through to the finale, real good. If you haven't, definitely tune in. Okay, so yesterday on the podcast, we talked about Amber Portwood from Teen Mom. Remember, I gave you the whole Teen Mom recap on, what happened to Amber since 16 and pregnant up until now. Well, now she has a new fiance. Her fiance, Gary, has gone missing. The police department released photos of him, his age, his height, and he was last seen, I believe it was at a Walgreens. And then there were reports that came out that the last conversation he had with Amber, they got into some big blowout fight, and now he hasn't been seen. It's like, oh, what happened? Because obviously Amber has a history. Amber has a past. Could she have done something to this new Gary 2.0, as people are calling him? Well, it was reported that she was devastated that he had gone missing. Now she has spoken out. She did a YouTube channel. I'm blanking on the name of the YouTube channel. I apologize because I always like to give credit to other content creators. But she did there was a YouTube channel that was reporting on it. And she called into this YouTube channel and was basically, it was kind of strange if I think about it, because she was talking about how they didn't get into, she's like, don't listen to the things that people are saying online. I shouldn't be going on here and talking about this at all. I just want to, make sure everybody prays for Gary and prays that we find him. But she kept going in about how she doesn't want people to think that, one, they had a blowout fight, and two, that she wanted to remind everybody that she has changed. She's a different person now. She's not the person that she used to be. Which, if you, as we talked about yesterday, with her history, she does have a history of domestic violence. She had assaulted her first baby daddy, Gary, and then she assaulted her second baby daddy, who was a producer on Teen Mom. Yeah, he had accused her of being abusive towards him, and then remember she was chasing him around with the machete when he had their baby boy, their son. So she has a volatile history, and so this new guy, she claims that they did not have that type of relationship. That they had a very calm relationship. That they had a very nice, sweet relationship, and it wasn't like her previous relationships. And she kept reminding us, I've changed. People can change. People can change. People can change. Because I guess there were rumors that they had a big blowout argument, and that's what caused this Gary 2.0, her new fiance, what caused him to leave. And so she then ends up clarifying that they did have a conversation that was very emotional, and it was a couple of days after news of their engagement had broke. Now, it's interesting hearing her say, we don't speak to each other like that. We speak very calmly, yada, yada, yada. Because if you watch that clip that I was referencing yesterday on Teen Mom with Leah's birthday party, Leah's birthday dinner that Amber shows up to, and Amber picks a fight with Gary, and she makes it look like Gary, in the moment, she's like gaslighting Gary into thinking he's the one that started a problem because he was kind of irritated that she was late. And, he kind of clarifies it's just that, like, you were late and, like, it's a school night and we still have to go home and do homework and get ready for tomorrow because we have to get up early. Like, it's just a little frustrating that you showed up to the birthday party late considering it is a school night. And she's like, I wasn't late. And she, like, is picking a problem with Gary and he's, like, trying to diffuse the situation. She keeps amping up the situation. And then Leah starts crying and Leah's like, guys, stop fighting. And she's like, I'm good. I'm calm. I'm chill. He's the one that's picking a fight. I'm good. And it's like, she's clearly not good. So it makes me think, like, maybe these calm conversations that she's having with her new fiance maybe aren't as calm because she has this, way of rewriting history and believing her own bullshit. But I don't know. I just know she does hammer down that because she says it several times throughout this interview, and it's a very brief interview. I want to say it was only like maybe 10, 15 minutes. Because she had to get off because she makes it clear that she wasn't supposed to be talking to the press. She wasn't supposed to be talking to anybody, but she just had to come on here and tell people they need to pray for Gary and hope that they can find Gary because they're in the mountains and he has never driven in the mountains before. And they did have a really emotional discussion because I believe it was after news had broke that they were engaged. And it seems like his family was not supportive of him being engaged to Amber because culturally they were different, right? Amber's white. He's not white. He's Asian. And so it seemed like the family was not, from what Amber was saying, the family was not pleased based off of the cultural difference between Gary and Amber or their ethnic background. That's kind of what Amber was alluding to. And so she said that they had a really difficult and emotional conversation about that. So it seemed like maybe this was my interpretation of what Amber was saying. Maybe the family wasn't happy that he was engaged to a white girl, or it could have even had nothing to do with her being white and maybe everything to do with the fact that she's on television and she's, this is like a big media thing and they didn't want their son enthralled and all of that. I don't know. But Amber said they had a really difficult conversation about it. And she talks about how he left and he took his keys in his wallet, but he forgot his phone. And he went to, I believe it was a Walgreens. And that was the last place he was seen because he was on camera at that Walgreens. And after that, he has not been seen since. And she's really worried about him. So she wants people to pray for him. So those are the two big points that she kept hammering in. She wants people to pray for him. She's like, whatever religion you are, whatever your spiritual beliefs are, just please keep praying for him so that we can find him because we're really scared. We're really worried. And she was crying. But then she also just kept hammering in, which I thought was a little too much, hammering in the fact that, like, she's changed. People can change. People are not the people that they used to be. Even though she's had issues in her previous relationship, she wants to make it clear that there are no issues that she has in this relationships. And that, to me, I was like, ooh, I wonder if law enforcement is listening to this because this sounds like red flags, right? When someone goes publicly, when you tell them not to talk to the press or not to talk to any, media, and suddenly they're going out there, like, proclaiming that they're innocent, like that immediately like sends up that, at least for me. I'm not a true crime junkie. I don't know if anybody here is a true crime junkie, but for me it seemed a little sus that if she would have really just focused more on, like, we want him to come home, these are the details, because it was also like, why aren't you allowed to talk to the press? Like, a lot of people who have a person that goes missing, they do use the press and they're like, this is the last place we saw him, these are the details, yada yada yada. But it was interesting. And Amber said that the only reason she decided to talk to the press was because I guess there was somebody that was related to Gary that DM'd someone about how they had a big fight or something, and Amber's like, I just wanted to set the record straight and I shouldn't even be talking to you, but like, I just need to set the record straight. And so she set the record straight and she wants everybody to pray for Gary. And I hope Gary is found. I hope he comes home safe. It's unfortunate that his phone was left at home, that he forgot his phone and he left, and but the thing is, like, his family hasn't even heard from him, so it's not like he like ran away from her. I don't know. It's wild. But I mean, listen, I hope he finds a way to make it home safely. I hope they find him and he's okay. That's what I will say about that. Let's move on to Vanderpump Rules. Billie Lee is clapping back yet again. She went on her podcast, Billie and the Kid. So we know the backstory. Billie and Tom Sandoval's girlfriend, Victoria, are beefing because Billie's not talking to Sandoval anymore. And it's become this whole big thing. And Victoria went on Up and Adam with Kyle Chan and tried to give her side of the story and made all those crazy accusations against Billie. I broke it down on Saturday's episode of the podcast, broke it down on Monday's episode of the podcast, so you can get full recaps there. But if you're caught up on the beef, here's the latest update. Billie Lee went on her podcast and was responding to a lot of the allegations that were made against her. So first of all, she opens it up by saying that Tom Sandoval has already cheated on Victoria. So she's like, surprise, Victoria, if you think he's being faithful to you, he's not. Which I'm like, okay, we're really trying to save this friendship now, aren't we? And then Billie says that after Ariana, after the Sandoval situation broke, that, you know, she was trying to be there to support Ariana, and she was dog sitting, and she was cleaning, and she was doing dry cleaning. Like, she was very much like, it sounded like she was being like a whole house manager for Tom and Ariana. But she was like, I didn't pick a side. I was friends with both of them. And she said that she originally came to the house to support Ariana. But then she heard that Tom wasn't doing well, so she wanted to check in on Tom too. And the next thing you know it, because she's hanging out with Tom and trying to check in on him too, the paparazzi started photographing them together, and she said from there, Ariana and everybody else cut Billie out because it seemed like she was picking a side and she was picking Tom Sandoval's side. But she's like, I wasn't picking a side. I didn't pick any sides. I was actually like trying to be a supportive friend to both of them, but Ariana cut her off after the paparazzi pictures came out that she was hanging out with Tom Sandoval. Billie says that she gets into the footage about in the kitchen, right? Because one of the claims that Victoria made on Up and Adam was that she was trying to film Billie making this accusation against Kyle Chan. And basically the accusation is that Kyle tried to get Tom under the influence to take advantage of him. And Victoria claims that Billie Lee made this accusation, and she wanted to get Billie Lee to admit that on camera. So she, was having this conversation with Billie in the kitchen, and there were cameras there, and she was like, I thought that the cameras were recording, and she did like a whole roundabout story, like trying to like be like, I have proof, I have receipts. Billie said it on camera, Billie said it on camera, Billie said it on camera, only to then get to the climax of the story, which is, oh yeah, but the cameras weren't actually recording, so I don't have that footage. So yeah, I technically got her to say it on camera, but the camera didn't actually catch it, which was dumb, right? So Billie says that the reason that the cameras in the house weren't recording is because Tom didn't have hard drives to save any of the footage from those security cameras. That I guess there's a live feed and it connects to the main TV, so you can see the video on the TV. You can see the live feed there, but it didn't save any of that footage. And she says that she remembers begging them to get hard drives or to get a system set up for their own protection, for like their own security, because things had gotten so crazy with Sandoval. She's like, they don't even have a gate code, like, which is also not like, the fact that she was even saying these things publicly, also alarming. But she's just said that she basically was saying that the security at the house was not great, and she felt like the security should have been beefed up, considering, how heightened people had gotten with the scandal, right? People were like going and tagging Schwartz and Sandy's, and they were leaving all the nasty reviews. And so she's like, just the level of, security that was needed, they should have been recording stuff, and like they should have had hard drives. And she's like, I begged Tom to get them, and he just never made it a priority. So she says the cameras did work, yes, they were recording, but they did work, yes, but they weren't recording. Then she says that T and Victoria both thought, and she has T on this podcast too, and T is she's a musical artist, I think. She sings or something. She was the girl. We saw her on Vanderpump Rules this season. She was the real petite Asian girl that Tom was seen hanging around with a lot. And I guess they were kind of dating, but like not really, not officially, but like sort of at the same time. So T was on the podcast with her, and she says that around this time, T and Victoria had both expressed thinking that Kyle Chan was in love with Tom Sandoval, that they kind of felt like, oh, that may have been, an interesting vibe. And apparently one time Billie claims that Sandoval and Kyle got fucked up and they were like, I don't know what they were doing exactly, but she said that she says that they got really fucked up and that Kyle Chan ended up hitting on Tom. So she's like, but that's as far as I know about that situation. She's like, I never claimed that, he tried to drug Sandoval. I never claimed that he, tried to take advantage of Sandoval. I just know one time they got a little too lit and Kyle made a move, but I think that's as far as anything ever went. She's like, then that's all I ever knew about. So I do have questions about, like, why is Billie doing their laundry and why is Billie constantly going over to clean their house? And it was a little strange, but I guess we also saw, like, Sheena go over to help Ariana kind of clean things up. It seemed like the friends wanted to kind of be there to support them, but I also see Tom as kind of the person that love bombs, right? And so I wonder if he leads people on, like, maybe, he, like, for his own ego, for his own validation, that's kind of how he hooked Billie and he hooked, friends like Kyle to kind of stick around. And, I don't know, like, he makes them feel special. I don't know. But I know that there are people that, I don't know if love bombing is the correct term because it's not like a relationship, but I do know people even in like friendships and stuff, or they just like they like love bombing other people, not in a romantic way, but in a way that like feeds their ego because then there's like an infatuation with them. I don't know if I'm explaining that correctly. But I can see how, because people are thinking, oh, Kyle Chan's in love with Tom. Oh, Billie Lee's in love with Tom. I don't think either of them are in love with Tom Sandoval, but I do think that there is something that Tom maybe has made them feel special in a way that like makes them feel loyal to him in some way. And I don't know if that loyalty is necessarily returned on Thompson. I don't know. This is all my own speculation. But then we get into Josh, and Josh is Tom's cousin and sometimes assistant, according to Billie Lee. And Billie's like, I don't even think it's a good idea to be hiring your assistant, your cousin as your assistant, because then things can get messy. She's like, but whatever, they have that dynamic. So I guess Josh was the one that was reaching out to Billie, claiming that he was concerned about Tom. And apparently Josh is the one that started a group chat to set everybody up to find a time to meet with Tom to get him back on track, because I guess there were meetings that like Tom was late to or he was missing, and he was always sick and he wasn't feeling well. And Billie says that when Tom drinks that he does kind of spiral, his mental health suffers and he struggles with depression and anxiety, and he tends to get sick a lot. And so she had noticed, and I guess Josh had noticed that he was starting to get sick a lot more, and like he was starting to spiral a bit more into some of his old patterns, because since dating Victoria, he was starting to drink again. And then Billie says that Kyle was not one of Tom Sandoval's everyday friends, that he was a good friend of Tom Sandoval's and he was clearly very special to Tom Sandoval, but that he was more of just like a social friend. He's not somebody that was coming by the house every day. And Billie says that Kyle was included in the intervention because he was obviously someone that was still important to Tom. And she knew that, if they can get this, they call it an intervention, but she also makes it clear that she doesn't think Tom Sandoval has a drinking problem. The intervention, it was more of just like a come to Jesus moment of like, dude, what's going on? You're clearly not on your game. You clearly seem to be off. Like, what's the deal? We need to get you back on track, right? We're going to do Scared Straight with Tom Sandoval. And so she then says, she's like, yes, intervention, again, is the term that they use, but it's not meant as like a real like drug or alcohol intervention. But so she's like, we were planning that at Kyle Chan's store, and Kyle Chan was part of, the discussions of us kind of being concerned about Tom, and like, maybe we should just kind of have a sit down with him and chat with him and express some of our concerns, right? And she's like, why, if I really believed that he had drugged and tried to assault Tom Sandoval, which is the claim that Victoria was putting out there on Up and Adam, she's like, if that were true, why would I include him in a come to Jesus meeting? Why would I include him in this intervention that we were planning at Kyle Chan's store? Like, why, if I'm the one that's spearheading this intervention, why am I going to do it? at somewhere with someone that clearly doesn't have Tom's best interest. And when she said that, I was like, that does kind of make sense. It was at his store. It included him too. Like, if you really believe that Kyle Chan was a bad person, why would you include him? Especially since they didn't include Victoria, and they intentionally didn't include Victoria. And Billie Lee says that Tom got really healthy and he got really sober after the scandal because he stopped drinking, and originally he stopped drinking for Raquel. But after the scandal, he was in a really healthy place, and then Victoria comes in and they start drinking again and they start partying, and she's like, he just hasn't been in the healthiest place since then. Then she talks about the speakerphone call, which Billie says that she remembers this phone call. She says it was a Monday. She was on her way into the studio. It was after they had this failed intervention. Victoria wasn't included, so she was upset that she wasn't included in this, and that it felt like Billie was trying to, as Victoria said on Up and Adam, trying to isolate Tom Sandoval from everybody else. And so Billie says that she remembers Victoria calling her, and she says that she kind of felt like Victoria was trying to bait her into saying this because she's like, oh, I just felt really uncomfortable when we talked the other day, and you told me this thing about Kyle Chan. And then Billie's like, I feel like on the phone call, I clarified that I never made that accusation about Kyle trying to take advantage of Tom. She's like, but I do remember there was a time where they did, get a little too lit and Kyle did hit on Tom. She's like, but the context of that wasn't that she thought that Kyle was trying to take advantage of Tom. And so she's like, I said that on the phone. Tom was there. Kyle was there. Victoria was there. They had her on speaker. And she's like, if this was some big gotcha moment, why didn't they record that phone call? Where is the recording of me actually saying that? Like, they're claiming that this is what I said, but that's not what I actually said. And then they bring up the point about like, well, why would Kyle go along with this lie with her? Because on Up and Adam, he seemed to double down on that as well, that they heard Billie make this accusation against Kyle on the phone. And I was thinking about it, and I was like, well, if Billie claims that she heard that they had gotten lit and that Kyle had hit on Tom, that still sounds like, it's not the assault accusation, but it still sounds pretty, not something that I think Kyle would have loved to hear. And I think maybe, again, I don't know. I don't know why Kyle would lie about that. But I'm thinking maybe there was something in that conversation that maybe Kyle, because then if, you're hearing that you were lit and you hit on Tom Sandoval and Tom Sandoval's right there, and it could make it look like maybe you do have feelings for Tom, and maybe you do, maybe you don't. I don't know. But like, I can just understand how maybe there was something that Billie said in that phone call that Kyle didn't like about himself, that she said about Kyle and about the night that he had supposedly hit on Tom. But she's like, as far as I know, I've never made that accusation. And she's like, it's also strange that I've never even said that accusation. One, because it never happened. But two, she's never made that comment publicly. And she's like, it only was something that was released publicly, which again, she's denying. But she's like, it was only talked about in the public because they brought it up on Up and Adam. She's like, I never brought any of that up. I've never even said that. Those words have never even come out of my mouth. But she's like, and it's interesting that they didn't record that phone call where they had this gotcha moment with me. She said, because Tom actually records his fights with Victoria, which to me is just like, oh, Billie really is not trying to come back with this friendship. Like, this friendship is done. But so she says Tom Sandoval records his fights with Victoria because he's afraid of her, because she gets really manic, and he's afraid that one of these days she's going to make a false accusation. Now, here's where it does get a little ego-y, because she says that he was afraid that one day she would call the police and make a false report about him abusing her because she knew that his name would get out there and then it would like really hurt his reputation, essentially. And so he would record the fights, and he told Billie the reason he records them is so that he would have evidence to prove like he isn't doing anything. And she's the one that kind of just spirals and gets really manic. And, he wants to have proof that he tries to diffuse in these situations, even though they do have these crazy fights, but that she's the one that's really the one that gets, really crazy in these situations. And then Billie touches on the baby stuff. And because that was the other accusation that was made, was that Billie Lee wanted Tom's baby and she wanted his name. And Victoria, was talking about that. And she kind of like makes it seem like this was something recent. And Billie was like so obsessive and like wanted to have Tom Sandoval's baby, blah, blah, blah. So then they address this. And T jumps in here too, because she says that Billie first clarifies that both Tom and Ariana in the past, pre-scandal, had offered to help Billie have a baby. She said, like, Tom and Ariana were like my family, and you have these when you're not capable of having a child on your own, because obviously Billie is trans, and so she's undergone hormone therapy. So I don't believe she has sperm or egg that she can use to have a baby. And so she says that Ariana offered to help her have a baby, that, obviously Ariana froze her eggs, that if there was a way that she could help her, Ariana at that point had no interest in having kids, that if there was a way that Ariana could help, she was happy to help, as was Tom Sandoval. And T confirms that, yes, these were discussions that were had, but this was also something that was settled way before, like these conversations were had, said, and done way before Victoria came into the picture. So at some point, Victoria had gotten wind of this, but none of this was ever being discussed while Tom has dated Victoria. So she's like, the fact that Victoria even went and talked about this publicly, like this had nothing to do with Victoria. It was not happening while Tom has been dating Victoria. It's literally something from the past that has been resurfaced because it was a conversation that happened before, but is no longer a conversation that they're having now. And they also clarified that that Billie wasn't looking to have Tom be the baby's father, and Tom wasn't looking to be a dad, that if anything, Tom would purely be just a donor. And it would solely be to help Billie have a baby, because that's not something she can do on her own. But again, it was already decided prior. And Tom wasn't going to be a part of any of it. Victoria wasn't around for any of it. So she heard things secondhand and then decided to use that. So I feel like Billie claims that I have receipts, I'm dropping receipts. We didn't see any receipts. We didn't hear any receipts necessarily. She had some screenshots of like some text messages and stuff. I didn't get a whole lot of receipts from Billie in this episode, but I will say what we did get was a lot of clarification and what sounded like logical context that was missing from the stories that Victoria was peddling. And listen, Victoria was very incoherent. She was all over the place. She couldn't formulate like a full sentence, which was very disappointing, because I feel like if she was going to have the smoking gun and she was going to blast Billie, like this was her opportunity, and she wasn't able to do that because she wasn't able to articulate herself. So the baby thing was weird that she even brought it up, if that's something that happened prior to her relationship. The Kyle Chan thing, Billie is denying ever saying that. And she's like, and I never made that accusation publicly. So Kyle's threats to sue me over those defamatory statements. She's like, one, I've never said them ever. And two, I've certainly never said them publicly. So the only reason that theory is even out there is because they were the ones that brought it up. And that was the baby stuff, the Kyle stuff. Oh, the phone call, the video in the kitchen. I mean, she seems to have answered all of it and responded to all of it in a very logical, sound way that to me makes me believe her more. I believe Billie more than I believe Victoria. Victoria sounds volatile. And from what I've heard about Victoria and her relationship with Tom, it doesn't sound like they're gonna last. And I would imagine when Tom Sandoval gets out of Scotland and comes back to LA, he's not going to be too thrilled with Victoria and the mess that has unfolded. But I also don't think he's going to repair his relationship with Billie. I feel like Billie said a lot of things in that podcast that were relationship ending, outing his relationship, outing his drinking. She brings in like the Josh assistant cousin guy. It just is all, it's all kind of messy. But I don't think there's any coming back for her friendship with Tom Sandoval. I think Tom's going to have to really reevaluate and cut some people out of his life and really look at who he has around him and who he trusts. But yeah, that's the latest update on the Billie drama and the Amber Portwood drama. And now I want to get into my interview with the ladies from Love Undercover. So enjoy the interview and have a great weekend, guys. I'll be back on Monday with an all new episode. We'll have a bonus members only episode. We'll still get that. We'll tape that on. We'll have that on Friday, and then also on Friday we have a new episode of the Pop Report. So be sure to tune into and subscribe to the Pop Report. Be sure to support Disaster Daters. If you're enjoying No Filter, let me know what you're enjoying about the show. Drop a comment below. Hit the like button. Subscribe if you're not subscribed. Leave a review on Apple or Spotify. I love you. I appreciate you. Have a great weekend and enjoy. All right, you guys know that I have been obsessed with Peacock's new show, Love Undercover. And I was crushing on some of the guys, but I have to say, after getting to the finale and seeing how all of these storylines have unfolded, I'm crushing on some of the ladies. So I feel like since we've already chatted with some of the ballers, I feel like the ladies now should have an opportunity to tell their side, whether they ended up finding love or they ended up finding the exit door. Please welcome two of my personal faves. Today I have on Renee and Brittany. Hi, ladies.
Hi.
Hello.
Yes.
How are ya?
Great. Doing amazing.
Dealing with stuff.
Life is happening. How do you guys feel? Or I guess we can start with you, Renee. How do you feel now that the show has wrapped? It's aired. You came out victorious. Spoiler alert, you end up with Jamie in the finale. How do you feel like the reception's been since the show started to air?
It's been amazing. I don't think any of us imagined it to be such a big show. Like, we kind of went into it like this was kind of a weird summer experiment we did, and the feedback has been incredible. I agree with all the viewers that it's an amazing show beyond what we could have ever dreamt. And for me personally, people hated me at first and really let me know. And then I've been getting so much support and so much love, and it's just been amazing for me. I don't know if Brittany feels the same about the love and support.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Brittany,
mine
do you feel like you kind of got a bit of a villain edit?
9,000,000%. I was a villain edit. I think it's so funny to watch back because obviously it's not exactly how everything went down. So watching it back, I'm like, oh, interesting. But honestly, it's such a great experience. I had such a good time. I met so many amazing people and I don't regret a single thing.
You know what's so funny is the penthouse that you guys filmed out of. I live in a building literally 2 blocks away. I walk my dogs past there. There's a sushi restaurant downstairs that I go to all the time.
You could have come stalked us.
I
I'm
wish I would
surprised we
have.
weren't watching you. Like we literally were watching out the windows every night. Like there'd be a fire and we'd be like,
Probably.
so
You were watched by all of us.
Probably. Trust me, I've been many a watched. Here in downtown you see everything. I've seen all my neighbors boning. I've seen everything here.
Oh my God. And downtown has so much potential. I don't know what's wrong with LA for not making it what it could be.
I agree. So Brittany, you did not end up with a match at the end of the season. You were gunning for Sebastian. You were left heartbroken. You seemed kind of shocked by the end result. I feel like as viewers, we were like, oh, this could go one way or the other. What was so shocking? Did you really think that you guys were going to make it all the way?
Honestly, the breakup was a big surprise to me just because, like, obviously there's things that aren't shown on the show. The night before, he's calling me being like, I care about you so much. Like, I would never want to put you through something that traumatizes you or makes you upset. Like, I'll stay on the phone with you all night just for the next day. He, like, literally dumped me, even though we had the next day, 10 days planned together. So I was like, we're literally leaving for Ibiza tomorrow and you dumped me today on TV. And so I was like, what the fuck? I was more upset. Like, what am I supposed to do right now? I'm literally in the most random part of Spain and I'm lost here on the fucking beach. And then, sorry, excuse my language. But then it was like, oh, like after he broke up with me and I'm like crying because I'm just like completely blindsided. He then was like, oh, so like, are you still going to ride with me to Marbella? I'm like, no, like, no. But then I ended up still seeing him.
So what is the current status? Did anything happen between you and Sebastian after the show wrapped?
No, we've partied a couple times. I've seen him a few times. Like, we're good friends, but that's as far as I'll go with that. And I think he's exposed himself now. So that's his.
Renee, how are you and Jamie doing? Are you guys still together?
No, absolutely not. A lot of things unfolded afterwards. His true character, some actions he's done, and to this day, he still proves that I would never want another girl, to be with somebody like this. I received texts all day yesterday harassing me. And my mom stepped in to kind of protect me and to say, like, listen, you can't speak to people this way. And he then continued on with her. So
Oh, wow.
this is the type of person we're dealing with. If you look into his past, nothing has changed. All his interviews on the show saying how he's this new person, he doesn't want to do anything the same as his past. Not true.
What was the moment where you realized, oh, maybe this is not going to work out?
When we were out in London one day, he started to shift his personality. And like Brittany went through, I was completely blindsided and broken up with. Went back into the city, and this is when he started showing his true colors. I was alone again in a foreign country. Production had left, and so luckily I know people there, and they helped me out in regards to speaking with him, because he was very irrational. Doesn't really care about anybody else's feelings or situations besides himself, unfortunately. So I had to take the other side of that. And when I got back to LA, I got a DM from someone random, like a Finsta, no identity attached to it, saying that he has a girlfriend and has the whole time. Told me her name.
Oh,
Brittany
no.
did her FBI work, and we confirmed it. So
These were my two favorite guys on the show.
were they?
I think that they're just enough like toxicity to make it fun and entertaining. And honestly, that's
my favorite.
pretty usual for me, any man I date. So, and just, ignore Hurricane Katrina outside. I'm sorry. It's bad.
Great time on the show. Like,
yeah,
we had a wonderful time on the show. But when the true colors came out, that's when everything kind of went south.
Yeah. So you're both currently single now.
You want to go first?
I'm dating.
Are you dating a famous soccer player?
No.
Are you dating somebody that we may know?
No.
Okay.
He's a wonderful man. That's all.
I'll keep it quiet on this time. I think it'll come out soon enough. I've been dating him for some time now. So.
Okay. Well, I look forward to seeing it on the gram. Will it be IG official soon?
I don't know. I like kind of having the privacy. I think when the public doesn't really know much about like everything on my social, especially when you watch me on TV, you don't really know me. And so when I don't like sharing my private stuff just because no one has nice things to say. Yeah, that's about it for that.
What do you feel like was a side of you we didn't get to see on the show? Because you did kind of have a little bit of the villain edit, but you also kind of stirred the pot a little bit. Like you snuck your way into the house, going through Marco, knowing that you had an eye on Sebastian. What do you feel like maybe was mischaracterized, or which parts of you do you wish we would have gotten to see?
So as much as I can say, there are things that you didn't see. So I was asked in the house by someone else first.
Oh.
And then I was asked by Marco. And so then I moved in. Obviously, you only see Marco asking me. So, and then my little like interview where I'm like, I'm still going to go for Sebastian. Like, yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I think that people see me as like I used Marco and all this stuff, but at the end of the day, Marco and I were having those conversations, and I was very upfront. I didn't lie to him. I straight up was like, listen, I want to get to know everybody. Going into this show, I genuinely thought I would meet somebody. And from watching other reality shows, I for sure thought there would be more men. And actually, it was just more women, more women, more women. And so I was like, fuck, I got to make a choice now. Here we go. Sebastian.
And do you feel like going into this experiment, you guys were both really looking for love, or were you kind of just open to wherever the experience took you? Like, what was your mindset going into the house, into the penthouse? Renee?
Personally, I went in there not expecting to like fully fall in love, but just to like go see what it's all about, date these guys, have fun, and just like truly enjoy myself. And if a connection is made, fantastic. Did I expect to fall like head over heels in love with somebody? Never in a million years. I'm like, it shocks me to this day that that was possible.
I fully went into this believing I was going to meet somebody. I may have just been a little brainwashed by watching like Love Island UK, and I'm like, these people have such like amazing relationships after, and I was really expecting this kind of scenario when they casted it to me. They're like, listen, we're profile matching you with these people, and this is probably like I've been single a while. I was like, you know what, like. I mean, a while, but I was like, I really want to meet somebody, and like international men is my type, and that's how it was casted to me. And then I went,
oh yeah.
But I had such a fun time either way. I just wish that the boys were there more genuinely to find somebody. I think the women were, and the boys kind of weren't, but that's not how the show went. So.
Do you feel like you were actually going to move to a foreign country? Like, would you have really done that had you made a strong enough connection?
Absolutely. I've lived in Germany before. I've moved for a partner before. I would do it again, and I would do it tomorrow.
Really?
I did move.
How long did it last after the finale?
About a week.
Oh, wow. So did it last very long at all?
No, because he had to get back to his girlfriend that was waiting for him.
Have you met the girl? Have you seen her?
I haven't met her or seen her in person. I do know who she is.
You've seen her Insta.
We all do.
Oh. Were you guys at the party, the Love Undercover Peacock the viewing party here in LA?
Yes.
You were both there. Oh, but Jamie wasn't there. Sebastian was there, though.
Sebastian was there. Sebastian and I are on good terms. We're friends. He can't, I mean, he's more secretive with his life. I don't know. But we're good friends. Like, we don't have any drama. We're both cool. Like, it is what it is. The show is what it is. I think that, you know, it was reality TV.
I have to hand it to Seb, though. He always makes a point to honor us whenever the show is being talked about or whenever people are in the show having like a dramatic meltdown about how he feels like a piece of meat. Seb always brings in like, how do you think the girls feel? And at the cast party, he made sure to be like, we wouldn't be here without the girls.
I think that we're friends with most of the men. Actually, the party was so much fun. I mean,
fun.
I loved it so much seeing everybody, and I've kept in touch with the guys since, and I've made good friends with them. So for me, the only person I don't talk to is Jamie, and that's just personal preference.
Yeah. Renee, how are you and Aless? Did you guys get to connect at all after the show, since she was kind of the one that you were neck and neck with for Jamie?
No. I honestly like barely knew she was there. Not to sound rude, like I just really didn't know she was there, and she was there for such a short amount of time. I'm not in the business of like speaking poorly about other women. Obviously she came in hot and like with a like wild personality, and no, we didn't connect. I don't think we would connect. I don't think that there's like mutual respect there. So no.
Now, I did hear some of the other ladies talk about how they weren't going to compete for a man. And even though some of the men were inviting some of the other ladies to stay in the penthouse with them, they felt like they should be the number one choice up front because they're not going to compete. And I was watching it being like, but didn't you sign up for a competition show where you're going to be dating men? How did you guys feel about that?
I was one of those girls that said, well, listen, me and him connected from the first day. And I don't know if Brittany had said this already. We were casted as this is not a competition show. And so going into it, if I had that in my head, it would be a different story. Me and him connected the second we met, and we're spending all of our time together going on all these dates. And so when other people come in and have like an attitude towards me, why am I going to stay and get myself involved in all this really very unnecessary drama? Not like fun show drama, like real crazy drama. That's not for me. I
Yeah.
also like, I'm not going to sit here and be like, well, do you pick me or her? Do you pick me or her? No.
I never really felt like I was in a competition, to be honest. I'm not
gonna leave.
I knew right off the bat when Sebastian and I met that we had this amazing connection. I wish it was like shown more on film. The only time I was like confused, I didn't know Stephanie was being sent home, and I didn't know why. I was the only person in the house who didn't know. So I was like, okay, like, bag, I got the bag, like, let's go. And then obviously you see me do this whole little spiral situation with Jackie. But to be honest, I was spiraling because I may have been a little bit tipsy. And then also I was just mad that I didn't know that he got jerked off in the pool. And nobody told me, not one person. And so I found out after playing cards all day, and he's gone on another date. And I'm like, am I blind? Like, I was sitting in front of it.
You were sitting there.
I'm like, does anybody need sunscreen, tanning oil?
Oh my God.
Gosh, but that's it. Like, I had no idea what was going on.
Exactly what she said.
In competition.
Yeah, exactly what Brittany said. Like, I didn't feel like there was a competition for me. And so when there wasn't like somebody that came in with such an extreme personality,
yeah,
we'll call it, I was like, we have a connection, and we built a connection before all this, because that was the last group of girls. So we've already built a connection. And I'm like, I honestly, I genuinely don't need this situation. Yeah. But that is my favorite episode of Brittany ever.
Was there anybody else in the house that you had your eye on, maybe subtly? I mean, Brittany, I feel like you did a little bit of some strategy, you know, at least chatting with some of the other guys when you knew that your number one was always going to be Sebastian.
Personality-wise, I definitely connected with multiple of the men. I just like to have fun. Like, I enjoy like somebody that can give a little bit of banter, and honestly, like, I'm such good friends with them because I enjoy the people that they are. But I never really like even thought about it, to be honest. Like, with Marco, it was great. Like, he's such a sweet, genuine soul. It's just that I literally could not connect with him because there was such a language barrier that I was struggling to understand even what was being said and everything. He was very on strong right after our first date, and that made me take a step back because I don't want to hurt anybody. I wanted to be honest, and then we did have conversations, but it does look like he got hurt. But I don't know what really happened there.
Do you know how the other two couples are doing? Are they still together? Lloyd and Ryan?
Only the girls are together.
Oh.
No, I think that Lloyd and Ryan are the only single guys. But that was coming right out of the show. So, I mean, but I think that they both have, you know, great chemistry with other people on the show and whoever they were with on the show. But I think that, you know, with the distance and everything, and it's a complete lifestyle change, that we really needed more quality time to build a real relationship.
Yeah.
I think if this show was, you know, like 2 months versus 1 month, I think that people could have actually bonded a lot deeper, and it could have been a different outcome.
Yeah. And you would have gotten to see maybe the other sides that you don't get to see while filming the show because you're kind of caught up in the love bubble.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Do you feel like being on the show has helped your dating life at all? Like, do you have more guys sliding into the DMs? Do you know, other pro ballers recognize you out?
I mean, there are a lot of guys in the DMs, but I wouldn't say that there's like anybody that's like caught my eye really in the sense of like a pro baller or something. I went on this show telling them from casting to my first interview that I would never date another athlete. And they took that and ran with it. I think that's why I was casted on the TV show. So.
Oh my God, probably. But also you're hot and fun, so. My DMs are filled with like really lovely and supportive women, and that's better than I could ever ask for.
That's good. Was there anyone you had your eye on outside of Jamie when you first walked in, Renee? I feel like everybody was going for Lloyd.
Yeah, everyone was going for Lloyd. I obviously went on my first date with Ryan. I thought he was super handsome. He's great. And he was just a very toned down version of himself on the show. But like Ryan in real life is like such a personality. He's one of the guys that I'm closest with now. And he's wonderful. But, you know, at this point, would I date any of them? No, because we're like all sisters and you wouldn't go for your friends' exes, no matter how short or long they were together.
Would you do another dating show? Would you do like a Love Island style show?
Why not? Why not? Throw me in there.
I feel like that would be fun to mix you guys into the Love Island world. You've already been in the Peacock Love world.
Yeah, I think Love Island is definitely something that would be more if I were to do another dating show, which I don't know about, but if I were, Love Island would be what I'd be most interested in. But for me, I'm fully on Traders. I'm ready to Traders.
We both want to do Traders. What if
Oh
we
my
were both
God,
Traders?
Traders would be amazing. I'm obsessed with Traders. I want to do Traders. It looks like such a wild time. I'm ready for this season 3 to come out.
I know. Same.
I'm just ready for another Peacock show. Like, they have some of the best shows out right now. Let's do it.
Would you want to go into the Traders as a trader, or would you want to play as a faithful?
Trader.
Probably a trader. What's the fun?
I would love to be a trader. I know I would probably get voted out so early. Not because I would be a bad trader, but because I just have such a big mouth that I would be. I mean, you always see the ones that are trying to find the traders and that are vocal at the table are always the ones that end up looking like traders and getting voted off.
Yeah.
Oh,
I think I would have a strategy going into it to just speak when spoken to and try to be quiet, but that just means I wouldn't be able to have a sip of wine because then I'll just like
See, I feel like that's why we were late, is because we have that fiery personality already. Oh man. Chaos in the trader house.
Hard to have a strategy. I would go in there and literally wing it and probably screw myself over.
No, you have to do it like season 2, like Sheree Whitfield from Housewives of Atlanta. She was just kind of like skirting by. She was quiet. She would kind of sway. When she would vote, it was like such a random vote, like that, like everybody, no one suspected her.
But you know, with my personality, I'd be like extra sneaky and like it would be so dumb. I really want to do it.
It would be fun. And then you throw me in there with the Bachelor. Like they always have like a hot Bachelor in the mix. They had Pilot Pete last season.
I love the like diversity of the cast for sure. That's probably my favorite part, is that everyone's kind of from something different, like challenges and dating and housewives. And I love that. I think that's so much fun. So
yeah, I'm ready for the new season of Traders. They need to mix in some of the other Peacock stars on the show now too.
Yeah.
Some Love Undercover ladies. I think that would be fun.
Me too.
What opportunities do you feel like have now come to you since doing Love Undercover? Do you feel like your lives have changed at all? Do you think like the fame and the exposure has kind of helped, or do you think it's maybe hindered your dating life a little bit? Because people are like, ooh, I saw her on TV. I saw her slithering through that house.
Personally, I definitely was hindered in a little bit in my dating life. But I was already dating someone when the show came out. So of course they haven't watched, so they refuse to watch it. But when they see like all these crazy comments, and then you have people that have a couple million followers putting me on their story, is really fun. And they're talking about me. And I'm like, okay, like at the end of the day, it is what it is. But I think it's been a fun experience. Like people that get to know me, I love that they get this like surprise. They're like, wait, you're nothing like what we've seen, what we've watched. And so I kind of like it at the same time because I make people like change their mind about me. So it's a little challenge, but it doesn't bother me. I like it.
Yeah.
It's definitely one of the most real, genuine people I've ever met. And I also didn't know that until after filming. So like she looks very different on the show than how she is in real life. And yes, if she needs to, she will call a bitch out. But generally she's the sweetest.
Now, I asked this question of all the guys too, and I'm curious what your answers will be, but I feel like when we go into a dating scenario and it doesn't work out, we often point the finger at the other person and say, they're toxic, they're narcissistic, they're all the terms, right? But I also feel like when we reflect on our previous relationships, we also have a really incredible opportunity to do like some inner reflection. What do you feel like each of you learned about yourself? Maybe your dating patterns, your dating styles. Like I know I love trash men. If you're taught, like Jamie was my favorite, and now I'm like, oh, clearly that worked out. So I know, but I'm learning to recognize some of those red flags within myself of like, oh, I'm attracted to the big personality, crazy, toxic guy. And now you have to kind of break that down and dissect it. What lessons do you feel like you learned from the experience about yourself?
You couldn't have said it better. My comfortability is immediate sparks, big personality, loud, wild, but I'm like really trying to change it so that I don't get hurt by literally the exact same man over and over and over again in a different body. Like I can't even tell you the similarities of him, my ex, they are the exact same person. I would say Jamie's a little more calculated. The other one has less IQ points, but I'm really trying to like spend time with guys that are interested in me and take it slower and like appreciate an actually really nice guy who actually cares about you and doesn't only talk about themselves. And I'm really working on getting out of the pattern of like falling for gaslighting and falling for love bombing.
Yeah.
Mine's just basically the same. I mean, I always go for the toxic guy. That's what keeps me entertained personally. Like I've dated guys that are nice and I am so bored.
Yeah.
So boring.
I need a little bit of an asshole immediately. I'm not gonna lie. Like I got that vibe from Smash and I was like, yeah.
See, I don't want an asshole though. I want someone who like worships me.
No, I like an asshole.
Boring.
And I think that my inner self, like one thing that I wish I went back is that I would listen a little more, like to a little more depth of him, because the same time, like, I mean, in gender studies, like back in university when I was studying, like one of the classes I took, they talk about how women like to communicate by relating. So he would say something and I would relate to it. Apparently he didn't like that. So I think maybe I should work on that a little bit.
Okay. That's a good one.
I do that too.
Well, right now there is this trend, and I know we like briefly, I brought it up briefly before we started recording, this new trend of like it being the rat boy summer, rodent boyfriends are in this summer. Do you feel like you're going to ditch? Well, because they said it used to be the golden retriever boyfriends, which were like the soft jocks, which I guess I feel like it's about, Ryan, they were kind of like, golden retriever boyfriends. They were soft jocks. They were kind of sweet. They were charming.
More than a golden retriever.
Yeah, I can see that. I've never really like put him in that category, I guess. But for me, please no golden retriever and please no rat.
My
I'm not into the rat.
name in my phone is a rat emoji. No rats.
Why?
Because he's a rat.
Like a mob rat?
No, like
just
the
a
equivalent
squeaky
of a street rat.
Yeah. Street rat. There you go. Trash. Lives off garbage.
Really is like honestly, I don't know the whole attraction to the rat boy summer or whatever, because
does this mean they have a rat tail? Like, what is this rat tail?
So it's their facial features. They have like rat-like features. Like they're saying like Jeremy Allen White is rat boy. Like they have real tiny eyes and they kind of have like a squinched in face and they're not super buff. They're a little more scrawny and a little more pale.
Okay. Different strokes for different folks. I thought rat in my definition, which
is like trash boy.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm glad girls aren't going for that.
I'm gonna stick like tall, dark, handsome, muscular, athletic. That's my type. I'm gonna stay there.
I'm trying to develop a type. That is what I'm working on.
We have different types. I've seen your
type.
What is your type?
Mine?
Yeah. Or what would you say is her type, Brittany?
Narcissist.
Like I think it's just she's more for personality. Like I don't think she necessarily like cares what the guy's like necessarily like looking like or what kind of crazy shit he does. It's more so his personality towards her in social settings. But I don't know, because I've just seen her celebrity crush also like literally an hour ago, and I was like, yeah, there is so many better choices.
Who is your celebrity crush?
Well, the ones that I like are they're married, and I don't want to disrespect them. But there's a UK rapper called H that that my friends say look like a milk bag, but
Oh no.
I love her.
Yeah, okay. I just looked. That's okay. He's not what I would have expected.
Not him. It's his lyrical genius.
I watched the video she posted, and I was like, we need to get you in therapy.
Oh yeah. Okay, H would be like my last hurrah, man. Like, I want to get married in the next few years, but H is like my last hurrah. If we're really talking about like celebrity crush, it would be like Charles Leclerc or like Jamie Dornan, like somebody handsome,
okay,
and classy. But H is like a bachelorette type of pick.
Okay, I'm here for it. Now that the show's wrapped, what's next for you guys? I mean, Brittany, it seems like you're dating somebody on the low. Renee, I'm assuming back on the market and on the prowl.
On the market, not on the prowl. If somebody amazing comes into my life, then yes, I will of course give them a chance. However, I'm very focused on myself and not actively looking to date anybody.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just, you know what? I'm just focusing on myself. I am in a relationship, but he does well for himself, and I'm working on myself. I do a lot of traveling. So for me, I'm just like, wherever the wind takes me, I'm just having a good time.
Exactly.
Good. As you should. Live it up. Enjoy it. Are there any fun projects that either of you guys have going on since the show?
No, besides I want a hashtag reunion, and I want to get either we do a roles reverse on this show or put me on Traitors.
Traitors all the way.
I would love nothing more if the finalist girls plus Jacqueline, because she kind of counts as a finalist, were in the reverse role, and then we got all the men coming for us. It would also be very interesting to have to like navigate men's.
What would we be lying about? That's the only thing. I'm like,
we're lying that we weren't on the show. I don't know. Who wouldn't want to date these girls? I don't know. They're lucky to be in our presence.
That is true. You guys brought a lot to the show.
I'm so sorry. I don't mean that.
No, I thought you guys were great. You all had such great personalities. You're all gorgeous. I would love to see the five of you together again, the final five, just like doing some sort of, even like a fun girls trip.
It's in the plans.
Okay. I'm going to be
checking
out on Insta. I would love to come. We'll scout out all the toxic guys abroad.
Yeah, and cancel them. No more toxic.
Yeah, that's it. It's not rap boy summer. It's no toxic boy summer.
It's healthy boy summer.
I know, but then that means boring boys, and I don't know.
I can't be bored. I'll lose my mind.
Yeah, I need stimulation. I need excitement. I need a little rigor.
Excited.
Honestly, like when I feel like I have it, I don't want it anymore. And when I don't have it, I'm like, I kind of like you. So it's just, I can't ever decide what I want. I feel like this is my common issue. So I don't know.
Let's hope we all find. Well, it sounds like Brittany's got something locked down, but Renee, let's fingers crossed for this summer. It's going to be a good summer. I feel it.
Okay, good. But we still need an accent up in here. Like, American, boring.
Give you an accent.
Yeah.
Need an accent.
Where can people keep up with you guys? Renee, where can they keep up? Or if you're single and available, where can they slide into your DMs? Slide into
these DMs, especially if you're a girl and want to connect, because I like you better than boys. It's at Renee.Ash on Instagram and TikTok.
And Brittany, where can they keep up with you?
Mine is also my name. It's at Brittany_Gibson_, Instagram and TikTok.
All right, amazing. Thank you guys so much for chatting with me. Cheers to a summer of love, or at least a summer of some good
It's
D.
sexy girl summer. Let's do it.
Yes, there we go. I love it.